Would you like to leave a message to your mother?
Mommy, I can talk.
Our spirit friends have developed a technology to extract from the consciousness of the loved ones scenes from the past and transmit it to us.
Sonia Rinaldi, welcome to Passion Harvest. I am so honored and excited to have you on the show today. Wow. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Luisa. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to your audience.
The work you're doing is absolutely incredible. And as we're talking, I'm going to be showing and highlighting some images as we're speaking. But just maybe first for the audience, would you mind just discussing your research and what is ITC?
Okay. Well, ITC stands for Instrumental Transcommunication, and it refers to the communication between our plane of life, our side, let's say, and other dimensions, since it may happen through electronic devices. That is, it is not evolved mediumship or any type of other source, which is not just electronic device, such as computer, a cell phone, etc.
I have to ask you, what got you interested in this field of work?
Well, when I was very young, I was worried that I should make an option for a religion or philosophy or something like that. So I decided to start some religions, basically. And then by that time, I heard that in Europe, people were recording voices into recorders, tape recorders that time. And then I said, well, this is good for me because I don't want to base an belief in a sacred book. That's not enough for me. I wanted something more concrete, more solid. So I thought, well, if there's a way to record voices, well, that will be the proof that I need to have a step into a solid reference. And so I started recording. I think that after all, it is because I am a bit exigent I think that if I didn't have the proofs that I have, I would be completely atheist. So that's
Right, an atheist. And so it's almost undeniable proof that the afterlife exists, that we do not die when our physical body dies, we do not die.
Yeah, it is true. And that is precisely one of our goals, to have these evidences. At the same time, obviously, that this way we can help people who lost someone. But also, I think that we are arriving now to a moment of having these scientifically proved, which will complete the scenario. Because let's say we have the phenomena, but we don't have enough studies and proofs and scientific studies on that. And that is the point that where we are now.
So I can't wait to share these images and voices. They're amazing with the audience. But from all the research that you have done, where does our spirit go? Where does our where is it?
Well, I think that it doesn't have to be just on the results. There are lots of information here in Brazil that is very, very common, and spiritist literature tell us, and this makes sense precisely with what I get. That, for instance, you have Earth, and then you have many astral cities around, where each one of us will go in accordance to your level of morality, ethic, and yourself. So if you are, let's say, a very good person, you'll be well received on the other side. But if you are, let's say, a robber, we will be similar ones receiving you and keeping in a certain frequency which is compatible with yourself. So basically in that, it is clear that there are also communications through devices in these astral cities, mainly those more far from Earth, because they are more, they are higher in level, in technology, in spirituality, and so. So that is how things may happen with the devices that they develop to our devices. Obviously, this is a great effort from them because they have incredible barriers, frontiers to reach us. But I think that nothing that genius and inventors as we had here, as Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Marconi, and many, all of them are working in those astral cities, and they know the importance, mainly in this moment of our planet, to show that the afterlife is a reality. This is perhaps the last chance that we can change the world, knowing that we are here for a cause. We are not here on holidays, and we are responsible for what we do. So I think that those geniuses and inventors that will also live on Earth, know that and work for helping us.
This is a simple question, but why are we here? Why?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, and as per
Well,
my,
this is your show today, so it's all about you.
okay, in my opinion, it is for our growth, for us to get better, so that we, in my view, and according to the communicators, we had and will have many, many lives still. We are just in a short moment of one of our existences. So let's say that these are the opportunity for us to learn with what we have around and be better. And so go ahead in other existences. That is what I see in my experiments.
Yes.
And I think that it makes sense. Otherwise, if you are here and there
Just
is
once, then
just once, there is no reason. It doesn't make sense, because then you ask, so the happiness and the sadness, just luck? That is, you are happy because you are lucky, or you are unhappy because you are unlucky. It doesn't make sense. So here comes the point of reincarnation, which is, I also think it is a reality. So according to your dons, you have your progression, and will clean and be better and more pure. That is, I think, what we are here for.
well, it's nice to know that in a certain life, if we're not the best person, as you mentioned, a robber or a murderer, that we can change our circumstances.
Yeah, of course. I think that is what life is. Always an opportunity for you to fix something that you have done wrong. Let's suppose, for instance, differently than in Christianism or Catholicism. Well, if you commit suicide, you go to hell forever.
Yeah.
This wouldn't make sense for me. You have to have other chances. You have to come again and have another experience and try to overcome this option of suicide. So that is always an opportunity to grow and to get better.
Thank you. People often say, I never want to come back to Earth again. It's too hard. From all your experiments, have you found that there is an end point when we no longer need to reincarnate?
The point is that I don't think that it is exactly an option. Obviously, you leave here when you die, your loved ones. So let's suppose that you had 3 kids. Obviously, you want to follow them to see what they are doing, if they are okay, if you can help somehow. So I think that is something that links you, mainly the bonds of love. I think that you cannot be, for instance, a mother. You may say, oh, okay, I'll get to another place. I think it is an option, but you will not do it because you have your kids here and then your grandkids. And so I think that we are, let's say, tied somehow. Obviously, there will come a moment in which you may not have descendants, you may have done everything you need, and then, okay, you may just go ahead and don't need to incarnate on Earth. But I think that is not the normal for our level of people, of spirits.
Yes. And gosh, I've got so many questions and I really can't wait to move on to the photos. But how does God come into all of this?
But
God.
well, I have a mix of, let's say, a scientific view, which is very important for my work.
Yes.
I think that we spirits, let's say, consciousness, I prefer to say, okay? We, consciousness, living presently on Earth with this terrestrial experience. So I think that there are all levels above us, as some below us. So I think that there is, in my opinion, that the idea of one God was a creation from humans to establish one single commander for universes, as we see through James Webb's telescope results. There are more than one single universe, which is ours, which is extremely big. So it is not possible that one being could be able to manage all these. So in my view, we are something like in the floor of a pyramid, and then you have, that's our stage now, and then you go with higher beings. Those, for instance, that are in contact with me, obviously they know much more, but much more than us, because they have incredible technology, for instance. So they are higher spirits. They clearly want to help mankind. So they are higher, let's say. But above them, there are others and others and others. So I think that the idea is that there is a community of guides, of commanders everywhere. I think that it is not something simple as to say, oh, I'll make a pray to God, as if he was your neighbor. I don't think that it is that close to us. I think that that we have still a long way until we could really reach higher commanders and make friends in the top. It is missing some millennials, perhaps.
Thank you so much. I also want to say to the audience that all this work you do is for free, and you do have a patron page.
Yes.
I will put a link in the description, but would you like to share for the audience your Patreon and where people can connect with you?
I thank you very much. In truth, the idea of not charging is something that I have ever done since I started about nearly 40 years ago, because I think that I cannot tax your pain. I cannot say, oh, you missed a child, so okay, I want dollars. No, I think that by the opposite. I think the most important thing is to spread the reality of the afterlife. I think this is the first help. And then if it is according to our time, we can help individually, but obviously there is not time enough for everybody. But what we are learning, I'm publishing every week for free. So yes, of course, people in Patreon helps me and some other Brazilian volunteers that work also for free, but they need, for instance, I can tell you that I paid the rent of 2 volunteers because they wouldn't have possibility of paying the rent. So thanks to my patrons, I can help volunteers to help me. So it is something that has to grow, and each time I will need more volunteers for other languages, many things.
I mean, it's wonderful the work that you're doing to help people reconnect with the loved ones, which is absolutely amazing. Well, let's move on to the slides because I'm so excited.
Okay, so let's say that in all these years, the progresses of my research is done over cases that we record to help someone. So, for instance, I try to change the technique that I may be using. In this slide, for instance, in Matthew's case, I was using something very crazy, which was, imagine, you know, those formats for making eggs of chocolates in Easter, you know, those plastic eggs, right? I was using that, and I was filming inside with static. So it is something crazy, but it works for the other side. So Elisa, who is Matthew's mother, asked me if I could see something from her son. He passed of cancer in bones at the age of 19. And then I made the recording to see if we could get news on Matthew. And among the many images from his life, which is another point very interesting in NITC, because he appeared with, let's say, 15 years old, 12 years old, and he went back to his past. So this moment that we see in this slide, it is a moment when he brought his memories of when he was about 4 or 5 years old. And then after the mother saw the video and the trans images, she sent me a lot of pictures to compare. And one is this one when he was a little boy. And then you see that it is perfectly him. So this is Matthew's apparition. And in the next slide, we can see it happening. That is, you see the static inside the plastic egg, and then you see that he will appear. Well, about some 5 years, I discovered casually that the vapor from a humidifier was very, very plastic, very, very useful for the other side to create images. And this happened casually. In this image, we see that one day I left the cell phone in front of me recording, and it was very, very hot here. And then I put the humidifier aside me on the floor. And then I didn't notice that I was recording, but I was. So I got in one moment the humidifier and moved it. And when I made it, then when I saw the video that I was not even observing that I was recording, I observed that they could create images over the vapor. It was something very, very good for them. So it was something casual, but I can show the results in the next slides. Yeah, okay. Here we have Lauren's case. It is like this. Well, this is animated. So we have already Lauren's photo, but behind it, you can see the previous one, which is the vapor. And in aside Lauren's photo. And then this vapor would bring Lauren's as in her past in many, many photos. Okay, I just got two of them. You see, as she looks like a little girl, and then the mother sent me a picture of her daughter to compare, and you see that it is quite similar. So the idea is that our spirit friends have developed a technology to extract from your consciousness, from the consciousness of the loved ones, scenes from the past and transmit it to us, to our devices on Earth. So that is how, even that, for instance, Lauren also, she passed by cancer also, and see that she appeared as when she was a little girl. So all these images are in her memory, which is another information from our research. I mean, people have never idea that everything that you do is in your consciousness. These will never extinguish. You carry your previous lives, and will carry all next lives all together in your consciousness. So this is just one moment in our life. So that is how they bring the past scenes into images to our devices.
It's absolutely amazing. So to connect with the people you're trying to connect with. So for example, Lauren, are you inviting her to reveal herself?
No, not exactly. I think that by now, after some 40 years, I think I have a straight connection to them all day long, 24 hours, 20 hours.
Okay.
So I'm sure that they are watching us right now. And so that, let's say, we invite groups to make things easier for the other side and for me too. For instance, we invite mothers that lost kids for suicide. Okay, then some mothers ask for participating of that group. Then we change to, let's say, a group of wives who lost military husbands, or people who died of overdose, and so on. So at that moment, I was recording for people from cancer. So that is how moms look and present, oh, I lost my son for cancer, so I would like to participate. And then we include, there is no limit, we will not charge, and the person will see then everything that we got. Yeah, I think that in Rodney's case, he also died, it was of the same group. He passed at the age of 49, also from cancer. And I think it is amazing the quality that the other side is reaching.
Yes.
Because you obviously, those images that we see, obviously we see him at left, the photo, the only photo that the mother sent to me. That is something that we take care. We just can have one photo, because everything that appears will be something brought from the other side. So observe that you can see still some shadow, for instance, in his nose. So it is something so concrete. It's surprising because the mother never saw images like those that I received. So it is a concrete proof. Yeah, Chris is also a nice case. He appeared many, many times. And in Chris' case, we had not only him in the past, but also, let's say an update of how he's looking now, because he looks older than when he passed. So it is as a today image of him in the station. Yeah, it was especially interesting because Brian passed in the day of his sister's marriage. He committed suicide just during the wedding party. And obviously, it was a horrible shock for the families. So, and then it was curious because, for my surprise and their surprise, he appeared aside this little girl. So you can see the girl with some short hair and Brian at right. And I thought, well, who is this girl? And then I sent it to the family. And for our surprise, it was precisely the winner, Amy, of the raffle. She's alive, but she also belongs to his memories. So what we could see was a moment when Brian remembered of his sister in the past and brought that scene for us as a evidence, because obviously there is this picture here doesn't exist anywhere. So he brought with his sister, who is alive. So it is surprising, right? Susan is the mother, and she lost Brittany at the age of 19. And then it was something different because when I recorded with Brittany, using this photo that you can see, she appeared, as in the next slide, with a very green eyes and different, very blonde. And then I sent it to the mother. But when I sent, I asked her, to Susan, did you ever lost a child, another child besides Brittany? Because Brittany passed away at the age of 19. And she said, yes, precisely something like 1 year different. I had another girl who would be called Stephanie. We knew it was a girl, but she didn't survive. And then later I had Brittany. So we discovered that Brittany brought her sister, that her mother never had the idea that she had two girls in the other side, not one, as she thought, just Brittany. She also had his Stephanie.
Okay, well, we'll move on to paranormal voices, which are amazing. Would you like to start with Stephanie?
Yeah. Stephanie passed of cancer, and I asked her if she would like to leave a message to her mother, and she replies, "Mommy, I can talk. You can play if you want."
Okay, I'll play this.
Would you like to leave a message to your mother?
Mommy, I can talk. Mommy, I can talk. Mommy, I can talk.
Mr. Murray, he passed at the age of 77 after a severe stroke. He's Canadian, and his wife, Mary Beth, was my friend, and it was something curious because around the year 2014, once recording with Mr. Murray, he said that Tesla was there. And then I immediately thought, who, which Tesla? Who is Tesla? It cannot be Nikola Tesla. Later, I would discover that, yes, Tesla assumed the control of all the the contactings from the other side to our side. And they were by that time working in two stations, transmission station, one from north and one for south, because they have to have different machine for languages, let's say. And so that is why Mr. Murray said, come to work in Brazil.
Come to work in Brazil. Come to work in Brazil. Come to work in Brazil.
Because by the time a team of spirits were coming to south to make all connections between both stations, so that we could work such as in a net. So that is why he says, come to work in Brazil. I asked if Mr. Murray would appear in images. And then a voice that later we would discover to be Tesla's says, you will see him. I will try from the north. He refers to the North Station. And so it happened. Later we recorded Mr. Murray's images.
Will Mr. Murray
You'll see him. I will try from the north.
Will Mr. Murray
You'll see him. I will try from the north.
Will Mr. Murray
You'll see him. I will try from the north.
I asked if Dennis Gabor, not everybody knows, was the inventor of holography in the years 1970s. And I asked if he was there, because he was mentioned before. His name was mentioned before. So I asked, is Dennis Gabor there? And Mr. Murray, the Canadian gentleman, says he looks forward, must see this. Things will not remain as they were.
Is Dennis Gabor there?
Looks forward. Must see this. Things will not remain as they were. Looks forward. Must see this. Things will not remain as they were. Looks forward. Must see this. Things will not remain as they were.
Well, I think it was a prediction, because things are really changing.
Wow, that's incredible.
I asked him if it was possible for him to appear in image and talk, which is something that we are waiting very much, even that it is some techniques completely different to transmit images and transmit voice. But he said that yes, he replies, possible and will.
Is that possible for you to appear in image and talk to me?
Possible and will. Possible and will. Possible and will.
What groundbreaking research you're doing, Sonia Rinaldi, and I'm so honored to have you today on Passion Harvest. It's really, really been a pleasure and an insight for me as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Luisa. I'm at the disposal of any need of the public, of you. Anyway, I'm here. Thank
Good.
you for the.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you, Sonia.